Welcome to There Is a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell, and I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I am the owner of Maxwell's fitness programs, and I've been in business since 1994. The purpose of this podcast is to get to the real deal of what really works, and most importantly, why things work. Hence the name, There Is a Method to the Madness. Before I get to today's show, I want to thank Jonathan and Lynn Gilden of the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. They are committed to providing the highest level of customer service in home sales. Why don't you give them a shout and figure out what your home is worth? 386-451-2412. All right, we have a special episode again today. I'm bringing back in Miss Kitty Musante, one of the top local runners in my area of Volusia County, and really you could say countywide, statewide, nationwide, worldwide in her age group. She's pretty amazing. And we're going to talk about why the mile event is coming back and why that is very impactful for her. All right, without further ado, we have Kitty here, and we're going to talk about the big mile. So, Kitty, what got you into wanting to do the mile?
Well, from the beginning of my running career, 45 years ago, the push was always to go distance. That made you an official runner. It was the running boom, so everything led to the marathon. And so that was my goal for many, many years. I ran a lot of shorter races, nothing on the track. But the marathon, the half marathon, the full Ironmans, that seemed to be where the glory was.
How many marathons have you done?
I have done approximately 35.
35 marathons, wow. Any of the real big ones?
Yes. Boston 12 times, Chicago, New York, the year it was canceled, so I didn't do it. Other than that, mostly Florida marathons.
What is your PR in the marathon? For those that don't know, that's personal record.
My PR is a little bit of a heartbreak. It's 3 hours and 27 seconds.
Right, so you almost wanted to die, right, that final
Yes.
30 seconds.
I had run a 5K the day before, It's sub 18.
Yep.
So I think I didn't have that little last bit in my legs to quite pull it off.
All right, so yeah, I was kind of showing the guests here that you quite an experienced long distance runner with the marathons, with the half marathons. I know you did some Hawaiian Ironmans. For those that don't know, that's a lot of miles. It's 26.2 after 112 miles of biking and 2.4 miles of swimming. So now, though, you have, you're still doing 5Ks. I know that. You're still doing maybe a 10K here and there, 4 miler maybe. But now you're really focused on the mile. So, that sounds like quite a change. What brought that on?
Two things. Injuries that kept me out because I was doing too many long runs. My body's somewhat fragile, I'd say. My mind is not fragile, but my body is. Also, living in Florida, 9 months of the year, it's basically uncomfortable to run. And so I thought, why don't I jump into some legitimate road miles, especially during the summer months.
Yeah.
And see how I do and how I can lower my mile time.
What was the first one you jumped in? How long ago was that?
The first one I jumped into was up in Rochester, New York. It was USATF Masters National Road Mile Championship, which is pretty competitive. And that was the first one that was I think 3 years ago, and I won my age group, so of course at that point I was hooked. And
right. It helps.
Yes.
What was your time in that one?
6:30.
6:30. Okay. And then what is your PR thus far in the mile?
It is 6:30.
Okay.
I have run several after that. I'm very consistent though. I've run a 6:34, 6:37, and another 6:35.
Now, if I'm correct, you just won some kind of championship, though, right, for your age group for the mile?
Yes, I last month I ran 2 road miles a week apart. One was the USATF Florida chapter championship, open championship, not just for masters, and I ran a 3:37 there. It was 100 degrees.
Good Lord.
But I won the top money prize. I'm kind of proud of that. $250
Was that the one in Jacksonville?
in
Did you say?
Jacksonville,
Okay.
and the biggest money went to the best age graded performance, which has a formula which takes your age and extrapolates what you would have run in your prime. So my 6:37 was a 4:51.
So what do they consider your prime when they do that? Does it depend on the distance? Like, is there a prime for 5K?
I think they just do it off stats of world-class runners.
Okay.
And it's just data built into that.
So that probably would have been your 20s, I'm guessing, right?
Probably 20s or early 30s.
Okay.
So I had I think right under a 90%. So 90% and up is world-class. So that's kind of thrilling. So I virtually won the race, men and women together. I had the fastest time.
And so I can say, like, you're 68, right? Age?
68 will be 69 in 6 weeks.
Man, so that's some impressive times. I mean, that's pretty darn quick. I mean, not too many people are running a sub 7-minute mile,
No.
at any age.
And then the next week I ran the USATF Masters National Mile in Indianapolis.
And how did that one go?
That went great. I ran a 6:34. It was only 90 degrees.
No.
Fast course, beautiful course, downtown Indianapolis. The best in the country were there, and I ended up fourth.
Fourth in age group or fourth?
Fourth in age group. The
Nice.
other three that were ahead of me had just turned 65, had just come into the age group.
So they're youngsters.
Yes, so, we were all within 30 seconds of each other, pretty much.
Is your goal to win that maybe next year? Is that one of your goals?
I think next year will be hard as the 69-year-old.
Okay.
I'm at the wrong end of the age group.
Yeah.
When I'm 70, I think I can clean up pretty well if I'm still able. It's always, you never know.
Right.
But I was pleased with it because I've held up from last year when I ran the Fifth Avenue Mile in New York City in September a year ago.
Are you doing that this year?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I ran a 6:35 there.
That sounds really cool.
And placed in my age group. So I'm thinking I haven't lost anything. If anything, I'm actually in better shape right now.
And maybe you might luck out some better weather in September in New York.
Yes.
You never know. It could go either way, but most
Yes.
likely cooler. All right. So, yeah, you mentioned that the first reason was frailty of body, which I don't know if that's true because you do a lot, but I know what you mean. The distances of long distance running, there's sort of a myth out there that we still hear a lot that, intensity leads to injuries, and it's really the long stuff that just beats the tar out of your body. It's not, I haven't seen you injured in a while since you've been focused on 5K, 10K. It's not really the intensity. You run track. It's really the long miles, right, that just beat your body up.
For me, I had to come to the realization that I start to break down really anything over 10 miles on long runs.
Mm-hmm.
Things just start to break down. And
Muscles are tired.
And then they pile up,
Yep.
and then something happens. And I have found that for me, the sweet spot is 35, 40 miles a week, 1 day off, sometimes 2 days off if I'm really beat up, like I was this past week. I had run 2 5Ks back to back, took a day off, then ran track and felt destroyed. Couldn't hold my numbers. And so I said, okay, take another day off. And now I feel fine. And I think you can do that when you're doing shorter distances. You can
Right.
recover faster.
You can control it.
Yes. And yeah, we were always taught speed kills. And maybe the kind of speed you have when you're younger, maybe that's the case, but it's
'Cause
all
they're not warmed
relative.
up yet,
I'm not,
right.
I'm not running sub 6 or 5 minute pace. I'm just trying to hold on to some leg speed. So I find that if I don't do more than an average of 6 miles a day, if you average it out, occasionally a 10-miler training run, maybe once a month, and that's that.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to unlock your full potential? I want to introduce you to the Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, a powerful resource to transform your life today. With expert interviews, practical tips, and inspiring stories, this podcast is your roadmap to lasting wellness. Here's what a listener has to say.
I used to struggle with my health, but this podcast changed everything. It's like having a personal trainer, nutritionist, and life coach totally for free.
With over 2,000 five-star reviews, we're a podcast you can trust. The Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
And I know that fitness is a big part of this course, and you are very interested in raising your VO2 max, or at least maintaining it, which really raises it. And talk to everybody a little bit about that, because me as an exercise physiologist, I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, it's intensity that builds your fitness. There are a lot of people that go out and do long races, long runs, and that's great. Whatever you do makes you happy, whatever, but it's the intensity that builds the fitness, right?
Absolutely. I have found that getting on the track and just repeat 200s, 400s, not even 800s, to really go as red line, total red line. You have to stop when you cross that stripe on the track and bend over. Is probably the best way if you do it consistently, week in, week out, and also do all the other stuff to hold on to your VO2 max. You can run forever for 3 hours at a 12-minute pace.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to contribute to increasing your VO2 max.
Right, and it doesn't. The literature points out that the more fit you are, the actual higher percentage of your VO2 max you have to train at. So if somebody, say, for example, has an elite VO2 of 70, 80 in that range, they're going to have to be at like 95% of that to even budget, and that's not easy. And we can only do that for intervals, obviously.
Right.
We can't hold your VO2 max pace for anything longer than 5 minutes, studies show. So, I think people do miss out on a lot of fitness when they get too married to the really long distances. And I think what a lot of, it's good for everybody to listen. I mean, it's not trying to sound like, elitism snob, with runners talking, but it's important to understand that the name of the game is trying to improve your health and fitness. And a lot of times that's not happening when people have fallen in love with the super long distances. It almost seems like people are doing it for other reasons, which is fine, but it's not always fitness. And I can remember when I was younger and a lot more competitive via age group, people would say, you're doing a 5K like it was a snub, right? Like
Right.
It was too easy. And I'd look at them, I'd say, I would rather run a half marathon this morning than go do a 5K, because in this half marathon I can just pace. And not slow, but I mean, it's a lot easier to run at 85% than it is to run at 99%, right?
Absolutely true. And I think that is, again, back to, like I said, what we were all like gearing at when we were younger. We were competitive, but we still were gearing to the longer stuff. And, I didn't go to the track regularly. Elite marathoners do go to the track.
Yes.
They don't just go out there and jog their 2:30 or their 2:10 marathon. They do a lot of intensity, a lot of threshold work, as well as their long runs.
For sure. That's what kind of makes them elite outside of
Right.
genetics is their mindset and their training. So you sent me an app, not an app, you sent me a website to look at. What was that called again?
Bring back the mile.
Bring back the mile. So that's kind of like what we're here talking about today, to get people maybe excited about learning that they can shorten their distances, and maybe we can bring some mile events here to Central Florida, because I think, we have a big health and fitness problem in our country, in the world, but mostly our country. And it's like, if we can get more people understanding that they have the time to go out and push with some intensity, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people can run a mile. And it's subjective, how fast you run it. I did one with you guys a month or so ago. I was behind. It's subjective. So what's fast for you is different for me, and fast for me is different from Jim. And we had a guy there that was one of the elite in Florida. What was his name again?
Keith Brantley?
Keith Brantley was
Olympian.
there. Olympian. And I think he's my age group, or very, very close. And it's like, okay, fast for him.
Yeah, he's in his 60s now. Yeah, he's Olympian.
It's way different for him than me, but we're both running at a mile intensity. Like, we're both pushing ourselves the best of our ability, because we all know there's different levels.
It's not, if you're somewhat fit, you can run the whole mile.
Right.
We see so many people now in 5Ks that walk, and that's fine. But if you're wanting to run, and you're still can't even run a whole 5K, and you're doing the run walk or the Galloway, that's wonderful. But the mile is achievable for almost anyone that can run.
That really want to push themselves to be more fit.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying. It's like, we're almost like being careful because we don't want people to not do races. But at the same time, you've been doing this longer than me, and I've been doing it since the early 90s. You started in the 80s. I mean, we've seen a switch in races. It's gone from people really, really trying to improve their health and fitness to a lot of people, and I know this is going to sound judgmental, but maybe there's a problem with it. There's definitely an issue with it, but there's a lot of people that do it for other reasons. They might be doing it to tell their friends. They might be doing it to post on Instagram. They might be doing it to take their selfies, and it's like, that's okay, but we do have a fitness problem in this country, and how can we get people encouraged maybe to just improve their fitness? It's great to go out and do it, but maybe we go out and do it and say, I'm trying to make myself better. I'm trying to be more fit, trying to be more healthy,
Yes.
I mean, we've seen a big change, right? In the
Absolutely.
past 20 years.
Back in the day, the first race I ever ran, Easter Beach Run, no one was walking.
Right.
I can say that, not one person. The races were races. They weren't all fast, but they were all there to run. To
be their best.
And I like that in general sense, the sport is opened up, and we get a 5K every weekend. You can find one.
Right.
And you can walk it, and that's great. You can walk 3 miles. That's definitely good. But like to see someone, if they want to actually get fit, to run. Not just walk.
Right.
And the mile, again, is a great way to start, to feel like, well, I just ran that mile. Whether you ran it in 10 minutes or you ran it in 12 minutes. And so, well.
That's right. Or 14.
Yeah.
Or 5.
Yes.
Because there are people out there that will run it in 5, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's people that will go sub 5. And, the world record, I think we were kicking it around, but might be something like 3:43 for a male. I mean, that's insane to me to think about. I remember reading in college that, some of the fun reading we would do, but they would talk about how the mile was actually the hardest event to train for. Like, it is so freaking hard. It's a sprint that you're holding for 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 minutes. Like, it's a sprint.
It's a sprint, but you have to. But it's aerobic. It's not
right.
anaerobic in that sense.
Correct.
And so it is at that sort of in the crosshairs between the two, where you cannot turn to the person next if you're racing it hard.
Right.
And utter a word.
You want to
You
quit.
cannot. And so, yeah, it's kind of that, well, it's always been, the mile's always been the magic.
Yeah, the magic mile, right?
The magic mile, the 4-minute barrier, where the women are getting very close to now.
Mm-hmm.
The top women are just a few seconds away. We might see it in our lifetime. I hope we do.
I think we could, with all the experimentation and stuff
Yeah.
that they're doing and the push. It really is making a comeback. And again, so this being a fitness podcast, what we're trying to do here is talk about the importance of the mile, because what you said was you're fit. I mean, you're obviously fit. You want to remain fit. You want to remain healthy, and you're finding a way to challenge yourself in a cardiovascular way and not beat the tar out of your body. We just see so many people that, I get it, they want to become more fit, but sometimes they go on social media and they see everybody talking about the marathon they did, and then that's great, but maybe that beats you up and then you can never run again. Maybe you go, you know what? Maybe I find a mile or event or a 5K, and understand that there is as much fitness there, if not more, than the longer distances. I can promise the listeners that there is more fitness in trying to reach the mile. Maybe not as many calorie burn. I mean, maybe
Right.
if you're doing it to burn calories, no. But if you're really trying to build your fitness, I'd love to see people really sign up for a shorter event like a mile or a 5K. And, that's kind of what you're here talking about. You've gone from the great long distances, and I know you loved it. I mean, that's great. Served
Yes,
the
and
purpose.
I, I'm sure if they took samples of my muscles, I definitely would be in the endurance
Yep.
bucket.
Yeah, you're a slow twitcher.
I
would
don't
imagine.
have a vertical jump, period. I never have. So no, I'll never be good at the 100 meters or the 200 meters or the 400 meters or probably the 800 meters. But beyond that, it's a mixture of the two, and that's that's kind of the sweet spot.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
you were saying earlier about the distance, and I think maybe listeners might be surprised to hear that the mile and 800, that's considered middle distance. People don't understand, like you said, it is
Yeah.
aerobic. It is not
Absolutely.
a sprint. It is the aerobic muscle fibers being worked. It's the aerobic part of the cardiorespiratory system. It is in between, and it's really, really hard. But worth it. And I think it's kind of cool, that it's coming back. I think it's cool that the mile is being pushed a little bit.
Yeah. I was just on that website today, actually, because I'm always searching for another, legitimate road mile, not a little kiddie race.
Right.
And I found one in Georgia that I'm trying to convince my husband to go to in a couple weeks, in Athens, Georgia.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
that's ironic. Athens,
Yes.
think of Greece.
Yes, and it's a legitimate while. I looked up the results, and there's
What time of month? August or?
no, this month.
Oh, this month.
Yes, the 26th, I think it is. So
Okay.
but we're considering it. It's USATF certified distance, and looked at the past results, and I'm like, yeah, this might be good.
And then you have the Fifth Avenue Mile coming up.
Yes, the New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile is September 7th.
And you literally run down Fifth Avenue, New
You
York.
run from 80th to 60th on the east side of the park, and I will be 69 years old.
That'll be awesome. I looked into that and it was full.
It filled up in about 2 hours.
Yeah.
10,000 people.
10,000 people running the mile. That'd be fun though to go and just watch. So I imagine, I haven't seen it, but do people line the streets?
The people, yes, absolutely. The streets are all lined, and there's different start times. Not all 10,000 people are running together, so
Okay.
you do get an open road.
Okay.
So they'll do a couple age groups together. So maybe there'd be a couple hundred. And so you know where you are. They have big signs every quarter mile, big digital signs, and it is amazing. And it has, the top in the world are there as well. They run last, so you get to stay around and watch them running sub 4s.
Is there cash prizes to them?
There is money for them, yes.
You know,
I think especially if they're sponsored by New Balance.
Do you know how much, maybe?
I don't know, but Josh Kerr, who I think I can't remember if he was Olympic champion, but he's one of the top runners. He's from the UK. He won it this last year.
All right. So as we finish this up, we're trying to steer people in the direction of, like you said, I loved what you said, whether you run a 6-minute or 12-minute mile, go out if you really want to improve your fitness, and I hope everybody does, because it really makes you feel better when you're more fit. How do you want to what would you say to people? How are you going to try to get people to try the mile? What would be some advice for you to get people off the couch, so to say, and into the mile, or
if
out of
you
the marathons?
if you haven't, I'll say two different things. If you already run and you've done your bucket list, your marathon, and you jump into races here and there, try running a really fast mile. You can run the mile, so it's not an issue anymore of the distance. That's not it. But now let's see how fast you can really go. And I think it's just a good boost for your fitness, your wellness, also competitively with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you run a marathon and you're a 4-hour marathoner, and you can extrapolate what your mile average was and just see how much you can reduce that in the mile.
So that'd be like a 9-minute mile then.
Yeah. See, if you go sub 8, maybe a 7.
Yep.
If you are new to running and thinking about running, and the whole thing just seems like it's overwhelming because everyone's running hundreds of miles everywhere, try to find a road mile that's completely doable for you, and go from there. And then maybe you want to go up after that, but it's a really good way to get started and not feel overwhelmed with the distance.
Yeah, and I was thinking back to one of my principals. I don't know, you didn't go to school here, but Horace Brandon, you remember him?
I know Horace.
Okay.
Very well.
So he was my principal in 7th grade, and I can remember him being, he's a runner for years and years. But I remember back then when he was younger and I was in 7th grade, he made us, like the whole school one day, run the mile.
Good for him.
I know.
Yes.
I look back, I still tease him sometimes on Facebook, but it was like we dreaded it, but it was like how cool that was to try to get the whole school to run the mile. So the mile has always kind of been that thing, right? It's always been like, can you run a mile? Can you run a mile? And I can remember, I think I walked part of it. I pretty much know I did, But I can remember like running my first mile going, oh man, I ran a mile. And so that might be that was a great piece of advice you just gave, maybe go out and challenge yourself. Just, can I run a mile? And how good you might feel about yourself, and then try to take it from there. Can you bring the times down? Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely. You don't need to have a track background.
Mm-hmm.
That's intimidating to a lot of people. Like, they don't want to go, race on a track. No, that's a road mile.
You can measure it out in your car if you needed to. Or everybody's got a GPS. Go out to a trail, turn around after a half mile, or whatever. All right. Well, as usual, Kitty, this has been very interesting. I love having you on, and I know we'll do this again in a few months because I know we wanted to talk about the state of racing, which we sort of touched on a little bit today, but we wanted to keep it to the mile. So thank you so much, Kitty.
Thank you again, Rob.
I want to thank everybody for listening to today's show. Please follow the show, and if you can, hit automatic download. It just really helps me. Also, I want to thank our other wonderful sponsors, Overhead Door of Daytona Beach. Zach and Jeff Hawk give the best customer service there is, and they already have the best product. So if you need any help with your garage doors, please give them a shout at 386-222-3165.